Hello and welcome to another edition of the Dugout podcast. I am your co-host Andrew, and once again for the second episode running, I'm joined by my running mate Marissa.
You want to say for the second episode running late?
Because you're back, you're so fresh, you're still,
gosh.
you're still, getting acquainted again, reacquainted.
Fair enough.
But it feels good to be able to say that I am joined by my regular co-host Marissa. So Marissa, today's topics and.
Yeah.
I'll just list the topics before we get into the discussion.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to discuss rather the contract situation of Liverpool's 3 stars.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Ruben Amorim's post-game comments from the weekend. Pep's new deal and City's crisis, and results coming through suggest that the crisis hasn't ended just yet. And we're also going to look at the first test between West Indies and Bangladesh. So we'll start with Liverpool's contract situation.
No. You will kick this off.
I will kick this
because
off.
I have a question for you.
Okay, but because remember, I guess people could get the sense that I didn't set the agenda this week. But so I know I need to clarify something for me.
Mm-hmm.
What aspect of the contract situation are you asking me to talk about?
So
is it a distraction, or is it why it has gone this late in the game?
No problem. I will start off with this precursor. So, you have Van Dijk. How old is Van Dijk?
33.
Okay. Still playing well. Still playing, to me, at a very high level. Trent is Trent. And Salah continues to be... You just can't help but smile anytime I press the Liverpool. That's why he had to do it. But anyway,
listen, I said nothing, so
you didn't have to. Anyways, but
maybe it's like a little bit of a hangover. I'm still happy that you're back, so I'm
right.
Just
Let's pretend this has anything to do with me. Anyways, and not the fact you could go 11 points clear on Sunday. But anyways, that's for later. Right, so Salah is still producing at the highest level. So for me, I just want to know why.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I mean, if it was 1, I could understand, but 3, and then the non-activity in summer. So what are your thoughts on that?
So I think it's more to do with the changes that happened at Liverpool behind the scenes over the last year to 18 months.
Okay.
Because I'm not sure a lot of people recall, but I believe in 2023, we would have lost, or after Michael Everest initially left as sporting director, Julian Ward replaced him. He did the job for a year. Mm-hmm. He left, and then 6 months later, Klopp announced that he was leaving. Mm-hmm. In the interim, we had a sporting director as well from Germany, Georges, can't pronounce his surname, mm-hmm. but it begins with S. Mm-hmm. He did it for 6 months or so, 8 months maximum. So I feel as though because the owners were so fixated on getting the behind the scenes or the upper level part of the footballing department in order, trying to convince Michael Everest to come back, trying to get Richard Hughes inserted as the sporting director to take over with Arne Slot, also trying to implement Arne Slot as a new manager as well. I feel as though all of those things had a role in why these 3 contract situations haven't been addressed. The other part I think is also related is because you have a new management team essentially coming in, and I feel as though, again, like you said, I think part of it as well is the fact that maybe Arne Slot and the new sporting director want to have a look, want to assess the squad, want to have a look and see what the hunger was like, because it's an interesting thing. It's unusual because normally a big club want to have 3 key players at this juncture at the same time. Actually, right? I'm not sure a lot of people haven't been talking about it, but when you think about it, it's actually the entire leadership group that's at a very pivotal moment, because the leadership group at Liverpool consists of Virgil, Trent, Mohamed Salah, Alisson Becker, and Andy Robertson. Mm-hmm. And Robertson and Alisson Becker, after this season, have 1 year left on their deals. Mm-hmm. So it's like everybody kind of running out at the same time. The interesting thing is the ages of the players. You have one player who's in his mid-20s and entering the prime of his career. You have the others who are beyond 30 and maybe looking towards the end of their time at the top. Well, I don't want to say end of their time, but it's not commonplace to give a player in his 30s, a very big lucrative contract for a number of years, because at that point, the chances of a resale value diminish. And I think it's just a matter of Slot and the new sporting director wanting to, get their foot underneath the table, assess what the squad was like. Mm-hmm. And I guess it's just a tentative, a touchy situation because I think the good thing is that Virgil appears to want that he wants to stay. He said it on record openly that he would like to stay, and he said talks have begun. Um, Mohamed Salah is an interesting one, but I'll leave him for last. Trent is also interesting because Trent has so far hasn't been committed. Sorry,
I could tell he's been
saying one, one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He's been very coy about it.
Mm-hmm.
Trent is the one for me that, from a financial standpoint, I don't think Liverpool want to lose for nothing,
Mm-hmm.
right? By saying them, he's the one that I think will have the most offers because of his age and because of even if he were to leave and join another team, that team will have the opportunity again to sell him at still a good age to make back some money or what's not if it comes to that. I think Virgil and Salah is just simply about right now. It's just simply about the fact that they're over 30, and it's just about they're still world class players, but it's like what do we offer them to? Because I'm not sure if we're in a financial position. A lot of what governs our contract situation as well as the financial structure of the team. We don't really overpay. We pay by enough that it's competitive, but not necessarily big bucks. So you have to ask yourself how much is Salah looking for. That could be wages, and that could also be years on the contract. Same with Virgil. Again, Trent one is a bit more, kind of like hard to read because Trent is the scouting team. Came through the academy, came through the youth system or what's not. I'm sure that it means a lot for him to play for Liverpool, and he's a vice captain now, so eventually he will, more likely be captain of Liverpool. By the same time, he's won everything that he could win at Liverpool. Maybe not in terms of the numbers. He's only won certain trophies on one occasion, but he's won everything. And with his ability, his talent, and the dearth of quality, fullbacks in his position, could he lure? You're hearing Real Madrid name being mentioned all the time. Could he lure Real Madrid? Be too much for him to resist. It's a chance that might never come again. He might be telling himself that. I think Virgil and Salah just simply about economics. I think the Trent is about whether or not the pull of other teams way more heavily than staying at Liverpool.
I think the point you made about the backroom changes is interesting because Chelsea were in a very similar situation just before Bowley and Clear Lake came in, where Rudiger and Christensen basically left the club for nothing, and a lot of our fans were really upset about it.
I recall
because you had a situation where the previous, to me, it was really on the previous ownership. For some reason, they never really made the attempts. I don't know if it was because maybe they were dealing with other issues. I don't know. So it reminds me of that because to me, at that point, Christensen and Rudiger were two key players for Chelsea. But to me, the situation at Liverpool seems bigger because captain, vice-captain, talisman, as I said. And it's interesting because I think all three want to stay in a way. Like you said, Trent, to me, Trent kind of flirting a bit.
Yes.
But I do get the sense that Van Dijk and Salah are speaking more openly about wanting to stay. And to me, how old is Salah?
Salah's 32.
I see no problem in... Well, I can ask you what you would do, but what I would do, I would give Virgil a 2-year deal, and I would give Salah a 3. I don't... Only because I would give Salah 2 as well, but I feel that he probably won't want 2. I think he'll probably want 3.
Okay.
And I don't mind bending on 3. Because to me, when you have a player like that, to me, Salah has been player of the season so far, in my opinion. I think what he contributes to Liverpool, he definitely still has that passion and hunger. Robertson recently mentioned professionalism. To be performing at this level, even though you don't know where you're going to be next year, it really speaks to him. And I think Salah has been invaluable to Liverpool. So has Van Dijk. And for me, I think, believe it or not, I think Trent is more easily replaceable. You guys, you guys have that guy that you guys brought, Bradley. He's a decent player, and I just think for what they all bring to the team, I just think Trent is more replaceable of the 3. I don't see a lot of world-class experienced centre-backs walking around right now.
Right.
Better than Van Dijk. I don't see a lot of world-class wingers/forwards walking around right now. better than Salah. To me, I think both of them are top five in their positions. And yes, I would say Trent is top five in his position, but I just think for what they offer the team, the other two are more critical. I would renew all three. But I just think is odd that it has gotten this far. And what concerns me more is that they all say that there's been no talks. That's the concern for me a bit.
So Virgil said that talks have begun. I think
he
so
said
last
that?
week. Yeah, he
Okay,
said talks
okay.
have begun. Our discussions were taking place, but obviously nothing yet. Trent, like you said, Trent is certain.
Definitely.
I read somewhere, I'm not sure how accurate it is, but I did read somewhere that Trent, the stick up on Trent's contract situation is that Trent seems to be angling to be paid on the same wages or put on the same wages as Salah and Van Dijk, who are the club's two highest earners. Which to put a fullback, I mean to put center back there anyways, it's a lot, but to put a fullback on the same amount of money as Salah, for example, or even
Do you know how much it is?
I can't remember.
Okay.
I won't
check
misquote
quickly
figures.
while you speak.
But I have no idea what it is, but I don't want to misquote figures in the sense I'm wrong. But I heard that has basically been the sticking point for Trent so far, or at least in terms of where the very different slates in terms of not aligning in terms of what the Liverpool and the player wants. That's Trent's perspective. Salah, I would give Salah a 2-year contract. Is he answer for 3? Maybe I could see that being. I could see that being a sticking point for him.
It reminds me of when Billion was at Chelsea.
I don't think that Virgil and Salah's issue is really wages. I think Liverpool pay them. I think Liverpool be fair and give him a fair.
You think it's a length of contract?
I think it's a length of contract will be the issue, especially more so for Salah than Van Dijk. I can see Van Dijk maybe settling on the 2.
I could see it too.
I can see Salah, being a bit thinking about a 3. You know, the weekend after the Southampton game, Salah did come out in the press and said that he's more out than in yada yada yada.
Yeah. Very odd comments to make.
He knows exactly what he's doing because he's saying that no contract offer, nothing has taken place yet. Nobody has spoken to him. I'm not buying that for 1 second. I don't think. Okay, I agree with him. Maybe no one has spoken to him directly. But I'm sure that people at Liverpool have communicated with his agent. Because we're at December. We got literally 4 weeks before he can start negotiating with the overseas team. But I kind of relaxed about it because I remember the last contract he signed it in the summer after the Champions League final. So it was kind of late in the game too. Well, not this late, but kind of late in the game. So I just think that hopefully a compromise will be met. Like I said, I think the reason that nothing has progressed where that's concerned is because with the departure of key personnel, previous sporting directors, for example, and new managers coming in, new sporting directors coming in, I think that the club would have been a bit hesitant to deal with contracts. And also, it's basically a restructuring of the football program because Michael Evers returned as like the overseer, chief operational officer of football. So it's a basic restructuring. I think that's what caused these things to be put on the back burner. And it has been an oversight. I'm not saying it's deliberate by any means. I think it was an oversight. But like you said, I think all 3 players want to stay in a way. I'm hopeful that 2 of the 3 will stay. I'm not sure if we'll get all 3.
Which 2?
Which 2 I think will stay?
Which 2 you're hopeful will stay?
No, I'm not going to say that because when I say 2 and 3, right? It's more like, what's the word? It is more like I'm hoping that at least 2 stays, right?
Okay.
Because it could be any of the 2 or whatever. Okay. If you had shoved me and asked me who I want to stay, who I think.
If you had to choose, if somebody had to say Andrew, one will go. Who would you prefer that one to be?
That's a hard question.
I know.
You first?
I know it. Sorry.
It's a very hard question. Who would I want to go? Like you said, with Virgil, there are not many experienced center backs. Are there any younger center backs of a good age that could come and do the job that Virgil has done, or developing that? Because also of a center back. I'm not so sure. Probably, but that's job is going department. More numbers are incredible and still going strong. And you know how I feel about Mo. I always maintain for the last 2 seasons, especially after Mane left, that Mo was our. I think the other guys in the forward line will score here and there, but Mo is the most consistent, and not only in terms of numbers, no, but also creativity. His assists are just as valuable as his goal output. And Trent is Trent. Trent is I have a soft spot for Trent. Sweet passing football, I must say. That passing ability. And just because he's a Liverpool, true and true. It's like you want him to like do like a Gerrard, spend his entire career at Liverpool if possible, or at least most of it. So, if you had to force my hand though, I would say it's between. I don't know. I gotta pick one. I can't pick nobody.
I understand.
I can't pick nobody.
It's a hard decision, to be honest. I don't know. Well, it's easier for me to answer because I'm not a Liverpool fan, right. But you have attachments to all three. You could see the value in all three. But it will be interesting to see where it goes. But to me, I can see Trent signing a pre-contract in January with some club. I could see it. And to me, I will question why. I mean,
I think it would be, honestly, right? I actually think it would be a mistake for him to go.
Especially no. Look at to me, I could understand it if, let's say, it was what Chelsea was doing the last couple of seasons. Mm-hmm. But look at what y'all are doing. Look at what y'all are building on the slot. As I said at the beginning, the potential to go 11 points clear in a very competitive league. Everybody just seems to be pulling together despite all the contractual issues. To me, I don't think right now is the best time to leave. I really don't.
Actually, like I would term it a bit differently. Mm-hmm. And then you said building on their slot. I'm not taking anything away from the job that he's done so far. Mm-hmm. He's done an incredible job. Has had incredible results so far. Mm-hmm. Still early in the game, so that could change. But I more want to give credit to Jurgen Klopp because I think what Liverpool are benefiting from is what Klopp left behind.
True.
Klopp left the team, the squad in a decent enough place for someone to just pick it up and met little subtle improvements, but he left it in a healthy position.
Yeah.
So there wasn't for example, the entire rebuild that Chelsea had to go through. Mm-hmm. For example. So that's what I mean. And my favorite Trent is that you leave Liverpool, and we've seen it with him at England, for example, where you're playing a different side on a different coach. I don't necessarily appreciate you. And doing all sorts of foolishness. You know what I mean? I get the Real Madrid pull, don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. For most players, especially English players, that they're apart from Beckham, Manaman, that I can remember, who also left on the free, way back when.
And him and Jude are quite close.
But they're not. And Jude, no, right? And Michael Owen spent a year at Real Madrid as well. But not many British players go to Real Madrid and actually succeeding in recent history or going even further back. So I get the allure, but at the same time, I feel as though that's a risk in terms of, because you go to Real Madrid, it costs big money, but I'm not sure, at least immediately you're guaranteed of a start.
Their right back is Carvajal, right?
Yeah, who's so injured at the moment.
Okay.
ACL. And he's getting up on age too. I think Carvajal's about 31 or so. So
32, 33 in January.
33 in January, coming back. But yeah, so I don't want to say it would definitely be a mistake, but I feel as though it's a gamble. But I guess he mentioned, I don't know if you saw the recent interview he did, where he talked about one of his ambitions is, to be a Ballon d'Or winner, be the first fullback to win the Ballon d'Or, and he believes he has the ability to do it. I guess if he want to bet on himself, I guess that might be where he's looking at achieving such a thing. But we'll see. But again, I think Virgil will definitely be the one that definitely says. I think Trent and Mo are more of a toss-up. I think Mo or Liverpool be prepared to lose Mo and bet on Luis Diaz and Gakpo and Jota and Darwin Núñez and Chiesa, who's the other forward there. Having similar numbers, or between them having similar numbers. I don't necessarily think that's a great thing to do.
Yeah.
Unless I think you should, if you can do that, you should dip in the market again for sure. Yeah. So that's where you stand with it.
Okay. Well, we keep an eye on that because it will definitely
Before,
I hate how the media like I don't like the British media.
Mhm.
Like I really hate how they consistently ask lot about it. Obviously he's not
every
gonna
press conference so far,
I mean, obviously
every
he's
press
not
conference,
gonna say and he's handled it quite well.
yeah, quite well, you know.
But obviously he's not gonna say anything. Why are you guys keep asking the same questions?
Also,
Man.
I mean, like, also I think what the media should realize is that yes, I think Slot will have a say.
Right.
He's going to be privy to the discussion, but how
That's above
most
him.
football clubs are having structure nowadays, for example, he's a coach and then they're the sporting director.
Exactly.
Richard Hughes is the person that those questions need to be asked.
Exactly.
I ain't gonna tell you either. So, but do you see, for example, if this dries on to January and one or two of those players sign pre-contract agreements, do you think that would be a distraction from what's going on in the field? Because that's a risk. Because for me, if you know your future lies elsewhere, is it possible that somebody takes their eye off the ball, for example, and say, "Well, I want to save myself a,"
It's an interesting question.
That's the dilemma,
I don't
right?
know. I will answer it and say it depends on who signs the pre-contract.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For instance, if Virgil, who I think is probably most likely to stay, if it was him, I don't think so. I think he's the ultimate professional. The other two, I will have questions.
I honestly no. I actually think that Mo will be professionals, but I think Mo will do his job. I don't think that would be a distraction for Mo Salah either. Salah too hungry for goals, so that'll be a distraction.
True.
But Trent is more. I feel as though people will start questioning or looking at.
And then to me, even if it's not a distraction to the team, it will be a talking point.
Or
everything.
Press conference,
I mean, if something goes wrong in the game, if Trent or whoever makes a mistake, is gonna. So yeah, that's a tricky thing. But as I said, something to keep an eye on.
For sure.
Let me skip a bit since we're on the contract. Even though this was my third topic.
Yes.
Since we're on the issue of contract, Pep signed a new contract at City.
Mm-hmm.
I must admit I was a bit surprised considering the 115. Unless he knows something I don't, but I was a bit surprised because from all indications, if City are punished, it will be a pretty hefty punishment. But he signed to 2026 with the option of 2027.
I thought it was 2027 already. I heard it's 2 years already.
Oh.
With the option of maybe a further one, but I think it's 2 years already.
Oh, okay. Well,
but for initially they said it was a year with the option of additional, but then it came out with a 2-year contract. So.
But it's interesting considering that Man City are on the worst run of form that I can remember in recent years. Like when I was watching back the podcast and we were doing our predictions. Andrew was like, they make it lose 5 in a row.
because big team first thing first, big teams very seldomly lose even 3 in a row. Yeah. Actually, big teams seldomly lose 2 in a row. Right? They might go 3 games before a win.
Right.
Maybe 2 draws and a win, 2 draws and a defeat, or whatever the case it be. But it's very, very seldom that they go 2, 3, 4, 5 games before a win, and also straight defeats.
And conceding a lot of goals in it as well.
Yes.
I remember I was thinking, because when we had a discussion last week, I was like, Tottenham are City's bogey team. But I figured if it was at
Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Thank you.
I still call it White Hart Lane.
Right.
Apparently it's no Tottenham Hotspur.
I figured if it was there, then City had a great chance of losing. But for Spurs to put 4 past City at the Etihad.
Right.
I mean... And then just before we came on air, you told me that they drew 3-3 and they were 3-0 up in that game.
Which I was unaware about. Because I didn't realize that.
Because I checked, when you told me that it drew, I was shocked because when I checked the score just before I left home, it was 3-0 to City. I think Fernand scored 3 in the last 15 minutes. And this is not like City. So is it a crisis?
Well,
with the Reds on the horizon?
Okay. In terms of results, yes, it's a crisis, right? But I mean, if you look at a bigger picture, City's still in a decent position in both main competitions. I mean, win on Sunday, that league comes down to 5. which is called, definitely retrievable from a City perspective. And in Champions League, I think, how many points are they on?
I ain't sure.
So they lost the last. This is 15 Champions League, right? So they've been on 12 before, right? Sorry, right? They would have been on 9 before, so they're probably still on 9, if I'm guessing.
Okay, I'll check.
Because they won the first 3.
Yeah, and they lost to Sporting and things.
I think right. So they're on 9 still.
8.
They're 8 points. Okay, they drew again.
Probably they drew 2. Who them draw against?
Listen, I can't remember now. You got me thinking real good there.
I can check because I hear confused.
I didn't realize that they drew either. I thought it was true in CCL. But
this table can't be up to date.
But point being though, so from a bigger picture perspective, there's still, nothing has been lost yet. I'll play it that way. But it is a crisis when you look at the standards that City have set under Pep in the last 5 or 6 seasons. Their home form has been impregnable for the most part. So losing so heavily at home to Tottenham, who before the national break lost to Ipswich, was a huge surprise. Being 3-0 up with 15 minutes to go and conceding 3 goals, again, enormous surprise. So I come into Anfield where their record has not been good. I think the only victory they've had at Anfield in the Pep era would have been the COVID season.
Before you continue, they drew with Inter and then Feyenoord today.
Okay. They drew with Inter?
Yeah, the first match they 0-0.
Well, yes,
that game was forgettable. I totally forgot about them.
I think they had a chance to end it. I watched the last 10 minutes again. Right. But yes, so definitely a crisis a lot for Pep to fix. I didn't watch the game against Tottenham. I was out on the road at that point in time, but I did check the score and I was surprised. I mean, it's definitely not good for him to go into that game at Anfield with, but I'm not going to be complacent. I'm not going to. I have too much respect for the squad of players that City have. The manager is Arne Slot's first season. It's a big test. What I would say though, and what I told another Chelsea fan at the weekend, who phoned me as soon as Tottenham lost. Sorry, as City lost to Tottenham. Phoned me within the very next 5 seconds. Trust me. And he started the conversation by saying, "Sir," and you know who that is, right? As I said to him, it's early doors. There have been instances where teams have had big leads and not won title. But what I would say, right, is if Liverpool win on Sunday, actually, I said for against the Southampton game, if Liverpool won against Southampton, if they win on Sunday and go 11 points clear, if Liverpool manage not to win the title, right, it will be a collapse. That's the one thing I would attest to. You can't really, unless there's some
big. That's effectively almost 4 losses. Exactly.
Unless there's some enormous injury crisis or something, everybody get full poisoning out for for 7 or 8 games. Unless that's the case, then an excuse not to go on and win it from there.
Yeah.
So I think if Liverpool are able to attain that advantage, then the ball is firmly in their court, as Kwame said on a couple of episodes back. It's their title to lose, essentially. And, can detract from it, can't get away from it, can't take the pressure off of the bat, so to speak. That's what it is. City, like I said, I have a lot of respect for City, but it's not good for them. Liverpool are huge favorites. But yeah, if sometimes in those type of games, Liverpool fan have been in games, for example, where been a few points behind or off the pace and chasing, and I pull them in from somewhere. So it's possible. But yeah.
One of the points you made is interesting because I was actually looking at the table. I was like, imagine that City are on their worst form in years and still second place. But depending on how results go over the weekend, they could probably be as low as 7th.
Yes.
But that means nothing right now because it's so tight.
Yeah.
Between second and essentially 11th, 10th. But yeah, I think like you said, Pep has a lot to fix. He admitted it. They haven't been here a lot, and I actually kind of like what Kyle Walker said. I think after the Spurs game, he's there or they're always fronting at the media when things go well. So you got to do the same when things go bad. I think City players are probably as confused as any as to what is happening. A lot of people are saying Rodri bring out, but to me it's so much more than that.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's a key player, and we've seen City stats with and without Rodri, but there just doesn't seem to be. It almost, and it's so strange to say this about City, but first of all, they're not clinical. They're actually still creating some good opportunities, but they're not clinical, and they seem to lack confidence sometimes.
Right.
They seem almost, I don't want to use the word afraid, but it's like when teams attack them, you feel like teams will create a good opportunity. Like Spurs, like when you look at the stats, City had more shots and stuff. Obviously, the more possession, but to me, Tottenham's completely outplayed them. Tottenham just carved them open at will sometimes. And it's definitely not the same City that you're accustomed seeing. Like, many times I will watch a game and be like, Man City can come back. Man City can, even when it's 2-0. Like, even when, it's Spurs. When Spurs went 2-0, I was like, Man City could come back.
Yeah.
And it was 3, and then it was 4. I was like, this is not the usual Man City. So I am intrigued to see how these nets, especially festive fixtures, there's a lot of fixtures coming up. I'm really interested to see how they get through this period. Starting here with Sunday. Sunday is huge. I actually thought today was probably a good opportunity at home, playing the team that you would expect to win. I thought it would have been a good opportunity to get confidence back, but to me, it probably did the opposite. 3-0 up, and to concede 3 goals at home. That's now, 7 goals at home? That's not, in 2 games, that's not City. But I think Sunday will be critical. Man City Liverpool fixtures are always huge. I think this one, the pressure's on City. The pressure is on City, knowing that they could be facing an 11-point gap. I see Pep a few weeks ago said, well, maybe another team deserves to win the league this year. He already conceding, but I've seen that before.
Yeah.
But Sunday is huge, and I think Liverpool will smell blood.
You made a very interesting. Can I go?
Sure.
Because I don't understand. Whenever I try to make a point, you turn your head and roll your eyes.
Because as I said, it's just when I praise Liverpool, you just get giddy. Maybe when you start to praise Chelsea, I'll be like that. So I'll leave you.
Yeah, but Chelsea gotta do something for me to praise them first. Anyhow, you know the right old dig. Anyhow, what was I gonna say? Let me lost my train of thought.
You said I made an interesting point.
Yes, you made a point that I was gonna come to if you didn't touch on it. The confidence issue. I think after somewhere along the line in those defeats on the spin, it seems like City have lost a bit of conviction in what they're doing.
Yeah, belief.
Yeah. So I think Pep. All right. So that's the problem with leaking goals. I think what Pep needs to do obviously is go back to the drawing board, become a team that is hard to score against or hard to play against again.
Who played today? I didn't even check out their team today. Yeah, I agree with you. I
think that's the way. But I think also you mentioned something else I want to touch on. I think Pep saying the extension doesn't necessarily surprise me. Because although I could have seen him going, because from a standpoint of I've achieved everything and there's nothing really left to prove. But I think right now City are in an interesting state in terms of their squad, in terms of transition. I've always I think every side started season when they lost Alvarez and some other players over the last few years. They haven't necessarily, the players that have come in haven't been of the same quality or hit the ground running or replace them in the same fashion. So I think if you look at it, the squad might be in a bit of a flux, just slightly, not major overhaul, but certain transition, like De Bruyne, for example, that contract situation. I believe they're trying to work on renewing Haaland's deal. From all early news or what's not, it seems as though that is going well. Kyle Walker's age, Gundogan only come back for a year, and he's mid-30s as well. So there are a few positions that are key. Jack Grealish, for example, what are going to do with his contract? Things like that.
You mentioned something that I wonder if a lot of people have really thought about. You talked about how they've let players go, and then who has come in maybe hasn't been of the same quality. How much are City missing Alvarez? Because
I think a lot of he was a big part of their squad last season and the season before in terms of the goals that he got from losing positions off the bench.
And a lot of people aren't talking about it, but sometimes he would start with Haaland. Sometimes he would come off the bench, and to me, he played a really, really critical role. And I remember when the news broke, I was quite surprised.
I let him go.
Yeah, I was quite surprised.
Me too. But I figured the reason they let him go was because I know you mentioned before that this was part of the reason that Cole Palmer went. But I think this season was supposed to be a more prominent season in terms of emergence for Oscar Bob.
Mm-hmm.
And his injury preseason.
Yeah, that's so true.
I think that would have, and then compounded by Rodri's injury long term. And then some other little niggas with Grealish and Doku and the players being out. I think a lot of and then like basically replacements. Not saying have been bad, but do they carry the same match winning quality as those players that would have been absent? The answer would be no for me.
That ball point is really interesting because I do remember a lot of talk around preseason was the fact that this kid going to have a really good breakout season, and then man's leg got broken and that was it. So I think City have had. So then that's my thing. Alvarez was sold after that, I believe, right? Before. Okay. So
Alvarez Alvarez started to make a lot of noise about wanting to start. Actually, it wasn't really making noise. I think he made a comment, and then within the next week or so, he was sold to Atletico Madrid. And that has been a familiar pattern with Pep. Whenever a player expresses that he's unhappy, there you go.
Yeah, he's happy to let him leave.
Yeah, so
it's interesting.
And again, maybe I don't want to say that, like, for example, it's City's negligence, but City are a team as well who are going through that transition because their sporting director is changing as well. So that could be an issue in terms of way they haven't really dipped into the market recently.
Yeah.
Along with the 115 charges, maybe that has a role too. In terms of like
I understand
players coming, we want to commit to coming here because we know the outcome of that case yet.
I heard some rumors that a lot of that probably kind of stifled their some activity as well.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see how it goes. When we get to our predictions, we'll see how you feeling about the game on Sunday.
I think if we're doing predictions after the game tomorrow, I will have a bit more concrete in my mind of how it will go.
We're doing the prediction today.
I know we're doing it, but it's not like we can come back tomorrow and do the record again. But I'm just saying, if we were recording tomorrow, and I was sitting here after I have a good result against Real Madrid, I will, be a bit more, focused in my mind as to what's gonna happen on Sunday.
I get you. So our last football topic is Amorim's first game. And to me, he made some very interesting comments after the game. So I'll just read through them briefly. He said, I know it's frustrating for the fans, but we are changing so much in this moment with a lot of games. We're going to suffer for... I remember... What was that said Chelsea was going to suffer? Was it Conte?
Conte.
Chelsea fans...
Conte was the first person I heard with that first.
Chelsea fans hated that.
We go suffer.
Yeah, we're going to suffer for a long period and try to win games. This will take time. We could win, but we could also lose if not for Anana. 100% agree with that assessment. But we have to think and be pragmatic about these guys who had 2 days to train and change so much. He said it's a tough league. You learn that in the first moment. And this is the first time 1-0 in now. My players were thinking too much in the game. You can feel it. Not just on the ball, but where they're supposed to be. And that is hard. It's just 2 days with the team, so it's really hard. I think the physicality we needed more in the first half. So I found that comment interesting because of the midfield he started.
Right, which is Eriksen, Casemiro, and Fernandes.
Yeah, pretty much. It's not the most physical of midfields.
Not the most mobile either.
Exactly. So to come out after the game and say that you think you needed more physicality in the first half, why didn't you start Ugarte? That was a question I had, especially since he had Ugarte at Sporting. So that was like, I don't want to dive too much into his decisions because it was his first game and stuff. But to me, that comment in light of the fact that he didn't start Ugarte was interesting.
Well, I mean, there could be an explanation for that. Because I'm not sure what Ugarte's international commitments were at Uruguay, and maybe he got back late. Maybe jet lag. There are all different reasons that coach will point to.
Fair.
That's the way I wouldn't necessarily start him.
Fair.
Even though the game was on Sunday, I late kick off and maybe had a bit more time. Who knows?
I mean, Garnacho is South American as well, so I assume that he probably had exploits too.
He played?
In the international part, I think so.
But did he start both games?
True.
Because for me,
Yeah, contact is important.
McAllister and Diaz didn't start against Southampton.
Okay, true.
So,
And
but Darwin did.
Caicedo,
So,
okay, yeah, and Caicedo only had like one training session. He started because he has to start, but yeah, he only had one training session. So I know the international break is a bit difficult, especially for the South Americans, in terms of all the traveling and stuff. He said, if you see,
before you go, I think what he will come to realize too, and this might, because listening to his comments or I watched again, just the image of him on the touchline, the impression I got was that for large parts or large periods, he would have been very frustrated with what he was seeing. I think you mentioned positional issues because obviously haven't had that time on the training field. So yes, the players are still trying to get their minds, I guess, warped around how they're supposed to play when in possession and before possession. But more importantly, I think something that he will come to find when Man United's squad is not going to change overnight, but it's going to be very difficult to change, is that I always found that Man United's squad in the last year or two wasn't the fittest to me. They didn't appear to be fittest. Like, for example, there are not many games where I felt as though United were getting stronger. Like, for example, City get stronger in the last 15 minutes and come
they
on.
Actually
Arsenal
fade a lot.
They fade a lot, exactly.
It's true.
And it's going to be hard to get people to improve their fitness in the season when they got games. Because then, it's harder to train. It's more about recovery. So he wouldn't have had it pre-season to really get them match fit as he would like. So I think that would be a source of frustration for him that these players are not as fit as they would let him to be.
I think what really had me surprised is that outside, because you watched the whole 90, right?
Yes.
Right, me too. Outside of the goal, which to me I think came from a mistake down Ipswich right hand side where they, I really up to now don't know how Ahmad got away so easily. Outside of that, United didn't create anything in the game. When I think about it, like, I felt Onana clearly was the busier of the two keepers, but I genuinely didn't see anything I think that United did in that game, which was a bit surprising to me. I mean, you go 1-0 up so early. Momentum is on your side. It was a bit surprising. It was a bit surprising. Yeah, I don't need to read the comment. There was another comment he said. If you see in the first half, you can see that they are a little bit afraid. I mean, I know English is not his first language, but that's an interesting term, being afraid. We have to jump on, he said, Ipswich player Sam Morrissey was always alone. We have to jump on him. Hutchinson was always in a dead space. Johnny Evans should be pressing his guy. But when we don't have training and it's hard to say all the reactions to the players, we had 2 days, so they're confused a bit. Is that really a training issue? Or as a professional footballer, aren't these things that should be ingrained on you regardless of the coach? Like being tight to certain players, especially danger players. Hutchinson had a lot of space in that first half.
Right.
And for me, like, at no point did any of the leaders on the pitch, or maybe Amorim himself, I mean, he was gesticulating a lot in touchline. At what point do you say get closer, get tighter? So I felt like I understand the training thing, but I still feel like at some point, at what point do the players be like, okay, I clearly need to get tighter to this guy? So what are your thoughts on that? Is it a training thing or is it a player thing?
So when you say A, go say B. And this is what I mean. This is what I mean, sorry. We would have been critical of United under Ole and then a bit later on the Ten Hag for lack of leaders and leadership in their squad, especially in defensive areas. So when you ask the question, should the players recognize that yada yada yada? If we are saying that they're back for or whatever the case would be, lacks on field leadership, almost every pundit in the country over there has been critical of Bruno Fernandes as a captain, for example. Then you can't really, be more known for not recognizing certain things.
Fair.
I think part of it is coaching too, because yes, you might say these common sense things to do, but at the same time, every team has their own principles of play, for example, and maybe the way in which his principles may be a bit. Well, I would assume they're a lot different from what Ten Hag's principles would have been. So maybe the players are still a bit programmed to hold, and still doing the same usual things that they would have done defensively under Ten Hag. Maybe they drop deep and sit deep, for example, as opposed to get tight and try to press. And remember, you can't even say that they were never a good press set on Ten Hag as well. So even saying get tight and stuff like that. Evans has the fitness and legs to do that because again, to me, their most aggressive centre back is Martinez, who didn't play. Right. Evans for me at that age is more like a last man. He doesn't necessarily want to come and get tight or follow a guy up the field. So there are a lot of different mitigating circumstances where certain things would have happened. Like I said, sorry, again, the Chelsea fan called me after that game too and telling me that he wasn't impressed. Yada yada yada. I said it's his first game.
Yeah, it's his first game.
The players were on national duty. He wouldn't have coached all of them.
Only had a couple days.
Correct. So I'm reserving my judgment on about 10 or so games.
Yeah, I think he's gonna learn a lot about his players in this period, to be honest. And I heard somebody say he's probably gonna learn more about them in games like this than in training. But yeah, I don't want to be too critical of him yet. But I think that squad, I mean, you've been saying it for years, that squad is going to need an overhaul to play that system and to play how Amorim wants to play. And are Ineos prepared for that? They just splashed out how much ever millions in the summer for Ten Hag signings.
Right.
And again, it just makes the decision to keep Ten Hag in the summer look even more stupid.
Right.
So...
I know it was stupid from the start. I had my company show tell me that you don't walk away from money. But I knew that it was a stupid decision to keep him.
Yeah.
I knew that the writing was on the wall. That day was coming. I would prefer to make it any season, so to suffer a little longer. But anyway, make it and made it. It is what it is. But I mean, I was gonna say something that was very, very poignant. What was it? I can't remember now. But the thing is with United is that, like, again, this is the point. That playing squad. If you look at the squad, a large percentage of them have been there at least under two managers, Ten Hag and Ole, and some of them might still also exist from the Mourinho regime.
True.
In Rashford's case, he go all the way back to Van Gaal. Oh goodness gracious! I mean, I am old enough to remember when Liverpool weren't this good. And we used to get managers to sack too, But there was about a 5 or 6 year span for the most part between managers getting sacked eventually at Liverpool. When it was like things get a little stale and the team ain't progressing no further. But the man was there for at least 5-6 seasons. Chiefly Rafa and Julia. The only manager that Liverpool had, or two, really that Liverpool had kind of that went quickly were Dalglish and Hodgson. And then even Rodgers lasted about 3.5 years. So, but we look at this squad now. This squad has gone about 3 or so managers in 18 months, give or take. It was about 18 months. Ole might have been about 2 seasons, maybe 2.5, gain 3. Ten Hag would have been about the same, 2.5, gain 3. That squad of characters, them, sorry, not saying all of us bad apples. I think Kobe Minu and Garnacho, for example, Ahmad, I think those are players that you can work with. What else I see a little hope for? Hoyland. Even your boy Mason Mount. He's still fresh. But you forgot about him?
Sure, most people have.
No. I'm not going to let you forget. Unfortunate for you. But yeah, so like, they got some players that I believe...
They got some good apples and they got some rotten ones.
Right. I just mean like, I think as a squad, that group of players have been guilty of putting in performances, and it just don't need manager. Putting in performances, doing certain things off the field. When you're doing well, you're playing for one of the biggest clubs in England, to garner negative press. Them so want getting rid of. Yeah. And Ruben Amorim gonna find out.
It's true.
I don't mind how much Rashford post on Instagram. I talk about best training session and all that foolishness.
I know
That just for optics. Yep. You see you?
He has to step up.
I think Ruben Amorim, exactly. If you do step up consistently,
and
play better. Use the next one as a heading for you at the door.
Yeah.
Because there's much difference between you. At this point, as far as I'm concerned, there's much difference between you and Martial in terms of when I attitude and how we approach things. So you gotta show me different.
Fair.
Casemiro over the hill, so I think eventually they'll face you out. Evans again, just a stand-in.
Yeah.
That squad needs a lot of work. I think it will take about 2 or 3 windows. I don't think it'd be that. I don't think it'd be that long because when I think about if Amorim is the right man and Manu going on an upward trajectory, when I think about how long it would take them to get back to challenging for something significant, I think about 2-3 seasons tops. And here's the way: although his squad is a lot of work, Man United has a lot of resources. So I think that their ability to still attract good enough players and it's not they think. I'm watching Amorim carefully because to me, United have been guilty in the past in terms of their managerial appointments, just going for someone because they were successful. I don't necessarily taking the right steps to assess whether or not this person fits the club and fits the criteria or even the football philosophy that we want to implement. I'm watching this carefully to see if this guy was chosen because he had a very good time at Sporting, or was he chosen because Man United actually believe in what this guy could do and the system and values and principles that he wanted to implement over time. And that's going to be very interesting to see. Because when I look at myself, for example, when I look at City, for example, even Arsenal, begrudgingly, they seem to, identify managers of late that fit with the direction that they're looking to go, and they're prepared to stick by them. Pep had a hard first season, and people said a lot. Well, I wasn't one, but I had a lot of ignorant people that said that Pep's not football couldn't win.
Can't do that without Messi. Yeah, I remember the comments.
The jokers. That would have should label itself. But anyhow, there were a lot of people that had that were saying such ridiculous things. I wasn't one, thankfully. But City stuck by him. Klopp didn't win anything for the first 3 or so seasons. Liverpool stuck by him. Arteta, Arsenal going through a rough patch again. I honestly did. I give Arsenal stick, but I'll tell you something though. There's a differentiation for me with Arsenal. There are two sides to Arsenal. There's the Arsenal board, the ownership or what's not, the institution, and then the fans. The fans can sometimes be ridiculous, and I think that's why we give Arsenal so much stick. But the board, I think the board will stick with Arteta for even if this season doesn't pan out to be a title-winning season.
Yeah,
things like that. I'm still waiting for United. I know there's a new regime, football at least operation-wise, but I'm waiting for United to show me that they're willing to stick by a manager.
Fair.
I think with Ten Hag, I don't call that sticking by him. I think that was just this man in the FA Cup. I wanna, y'all were tentative about making a decision, even though one knew that his philosophy or that direction wasn't one that y'all ultimately wanted to go in.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna take a quick break. Although the episode almost done, but we're gonna take a quick break for a word from our sponsors. Whole Health Pharmacy, located in Jordan's Complex, Speightstown, St. Peter, carries a variety of products to take care of you and your health. Essential oils, muscle rubs, and the run-of-the-mill medications. And definitely don't forget your vitamins. Vinci sea salt, air humidifiers, tumblers, and women's havens pads too. We got it all for you. Don't forget your Barbados and natural Vinci snacks. So for sure you're gonna keep coming back. Ever hear about structured water? Well, tell your son, tell your daughter. Whole Health Pharmacy. More than a pharmacy, we take care of you and your health. Okay, so we're back. Just have two more things, quick things. Cricket is always quick, but before we get to the cricket, predictions. Last week, week before, because we had to deal with the international break and then this weekend's fixtures. You got 3 results correct. No scorelines, just 3 results. The Liverpool, Arsenal, and Chelsea results. And I got 2 correct, the Chelsea and Liverpool results. So we start half close as we usually do, despite what you say.
We'll see how long it lasts.
Yeah, we'll see how long it lasts. So let's move on to... I think we have a lot to do, actually, because our next recording is in 2 weeks. And I think because it's festive fixtures, is a lot. So we just get to it. First basics fixture is Arsenal away at West Ham late Saturday kickoff.
2-1 Arsenal.
This is tough. I watched West Ham's game yesterday against Newcastle away. Played well. Well, actually, I don't want to say they played well. They were clinical. At home, though, West Ham haven't been great this season. Arsenal have had 2 really good results against Forest and then today against Sporting. I think begrudgingly Arsenal will win. And I think they'll keep a clean sheet. I think I'll go 2-0 Arsenal. I can't regret that. Chelsea at home to Villa. Good grief. This is going to be a tough one. I'll go first. This is my turn. My heart is telling me 2-1 Chelsea, but my head is saying 2-2. Villa aren't in the best form, but Chelsea can't keep a clean sheet to save their lives. And Villa are still a good side. But I back my boys 2-1 Chelsea.
I'll go to 2-2. I think that Villa will...
So you just tap my result and just...
No, I actually think that Villa will find a result for us on I think that Villa will arrest the slate. I believe that Robert Sanchez has been a well since we talk about him, and I believe that he will come and do something foolish when I get back.
Stamford Bridge.
No, what day? Saturday?
Oh, Sunday.
Sunday
at 9:30.
Right, so I believe that Robert Sanchez will do something silly Sunday morning for Christopher Cox to call me and cuss.
That's always my answer to people that want to put Chelsea in a title race. Robert Sanchez. That's just my answer. We can never be in a title race, but he may go. Spurs at home to Fulham.
Yeah, Spurs are top 6.
Traditional top 6.
There?
Your turn, sir.
Man, seriously? Anyway.
Please do Spurs like time?
We do?
Yes.
If you say so.
I'm good, yeah.
So you had Spurs at home to Fulham? In true Spurs fashion, I think that Spurs will lose more. No.
Honestly, right? Honestly, that's your prediction?
Yeah.
I'll go with...
Honestly,
I think you're right, you know. I really do think you're right.
Fashion.
But I think I'll go with a 1-1 draw.
Okay.
Yeah. Man United at home to Everton. I think Man United win this 2-0.
I'll say 3. 3-0.
Loss. A team that can't score goals. But fair enough.
But Everton have been bad, so.
True. Liverpool at home to City. You go first.
Yeah. Gladly. I'm gonna go for a 2-2 draw.
That's such a couple. Like
couple.
every City Liverpool game is always a 2-2 draw.
No, but I think it'll be a 2-2 draw.
I think Liverpool will win 3-1.
Oh, lovely, thank you. I will happily consider 3 points if we did. So, right now, I care more about the terrorists and leaderboard. I'm sorry.
Fair enough. We have some midweek fixtures because, festive season and all.
Right.
Chelsea away at Southampton.
This is a Tuesday game? Sorry, Wednesday game. Chelsea away what? Away
Southampton.
Away to Southampton. I'll go 2-0 Chelsea.
I'll go 3-1.
Okay. Maybe right there.
City at home to Forest. It's hard to predict,
I'm going to go for a 2-0 City, man.
(2-1). Liverpool away at Newcastle. It's me or you?
I can't remember. I think it's you.
I'll go. This is so hard. Newcastle aren't playing Newcastle's league position doesn't reflect how they've played. I don't think they've been bad this season. Even yesterday against West Ham, to me, they were just wasteful. My gut is telling me this could be a 2-2 draw. But Liverpool always find a way to win. Liverpool don't do draws. I'll stay with a 2-2 draw.
Okay. I think Liverpool win this 1-1.
Fair show. Wow, I did not even know this was next week Wednesday, but Arsenal at home to United. Wait, Stoops?
Because you stay in that again.
Fair.
Arsenal win that 3-1. Right now, Arsenal's winning. Arsenal need to make up some ground. Arsenal win that game 3-1.
I ain't go 1-1 draw.
Go a lot 5-1, I don't know.
Oh gosh, that made me laugh. No, it's just I don't think. Gosh, honestly, United gonna concede 3-4 against Ipswich, so maybe you might be right, but I don't know. Gosh, this is such a terrible prediction, but I can stay with 1-1.
Okay.
Let's stay with 1-1. Spurs away to Bournemouth. That's next week, Thursday. I think Bournemouth will win that 2-1.
That's a difficult fixture to predict. I could see Bournemouth winning. I could also see Tottenham winning. But considering that I said Tottenham will lose a film at home, I'll give Tottenham a win in this one. So I'll go 2-1. I think Solanke will come back and grab a goal at his former stomping ground.
You said 2-1 to Spurs?
Yes.
All right, you see. And then the next weekend fixtures, Merseyside Derby, bright and early Saturday morning kickoff. Your turn.
Where is it playing?
Goodison. Last derby at Goodison, right?
The last derby at Goodison was not a good experience for me. Yes.
No, I mean this is the last derby at Goodison ever.
Yes, before they get this new stadium. Yeah, supposed to be before they get in the new stadium. Right. I forgot they were changing stadiums out also. Yeah, but since this is the last one, at Goodison, I can make sure I make it a memorable one for Everton fans. So I'll go 3-1 Liverpool. Actually, really good 3-0, but I'll go 3-1.
Honestly, I'll go 3-0 because I know we get Everton to go for. But then again, it is a derby.
It's Liverpool.
It is a derby. But Everton don't score goals.
Yeah, but Liverpool always give chances.
3-0 Liverpool.
3-1.
Man City away at Palace.
Man City away at Palace?
This is hard because we literally predicted like 3 and 4 games in advance.
Yes.
I would say it depends on the form that City is in. It's not Palace in relegation zone. Haven't started the season well. But I think Man City should be back in the groove by now. And I would say City will win this 2-1.
So City will win 2-1? I'm not sure. I'll say 2-1 as well.
Okay. United at home to Forest.
I'll go for 1-1 draw.
I agree. Actually, I mean, that was my gut, but...
It's that really quickly, but I'll go for 1-1 draw.
Yeah. It has a draw written all over it for real. Until United start scoring goals, I ain't really predicting it to score more than 1 or 2. Yeah, I think my concern, not to go back, but their lack of creation on Sunday just was really interesting for me. Arsenal away at Fulham. Whose turn?
I think maybe mine. No, I meant first just now, so I think.
Arsenal win this 3-1.
It's man upset. Real talk.
Fulham have been good this season.
I think Fulham win 2-1. I think Emil Smith-Rowe
Oh yeah.
was sticking Arsenal teeth.
Yeah, he got a point to prove.
I don't know what point to prove, but I just think he's sticking Arsenal teeth.
He does have a point to prove. I think he got casted away a bit. And then when you look at the injury to Odegaard, I think they could have kept Smith-Rowe, especially if they were alone in Vieira. Interesting.
Not only that, especially what Smith-Rowe did to make them relevant again.
It's true because he
along with
was a
Saka.
big. He and Saka were a
Right?
big part
And
of
they
that.
decided not to wait for. I don't think they did that. Okay, I think eventually, if he can't get back in the team and need to get regular football, fine, maybe loan him. But I think they give him outright sale so quickly.
Yeah,
I would have given him another season.
yeah, I don't even think they gave him enough chances either. To be honest,
Correct.
whenever I don't think he ever came on early enough to affect games. Like, yeah, I think that he's a decent player. It's not a bad player, and
They can pay for the sins.
whatever you say. Well, and we close with Chelsea away at Spurs
That's on.
Sunday.
That's on a Sunday. Okay. Chelsea at Spurs. When I can beat Spurs, man, I'll go 2-0 Chelsea.
Nah, we can concede. I will not predict a clean sheet out here. But I mean, we can feast on our highline. But I remember last season, that game was chaos. But yeah, I think we win this 2 or 3-1. I'll probably go 2-1 Chelsea. I would never predict Spurs to beat Chelsea. I can't. We could be on a run of 6 losses in a row.
Is that because you think that Chelsea generally better than Spurs, or because Spurs are Spurs?
Both. All right. Yeah. So just quickly, we touched on the first test between West Indies and Bangladesh, which finished today. West Indies made 450 for 9 declared in their first innings. Century from Justin Grizz, and I'll touch on the other 2 innings when I get to my assessment of the West Indies. But we had 2 other notable contributions in our first innings. And then Bangladesh declared, surprisingly, yesterday, overnight, 269 for 9 declared, even though they were a whopping 1-something behind. I guess they wanted to, make the game interesting, which I could appreciate. Try to go for a win, be aggressive. And, I mean, they skittled out West Indies from 152. And then they were skittled out today for 132. So, a good test win by West Indies. Justin Grizz was excellent. He was player of the match for his unbeaten 100, and he took 2 wickets in the first innings as well. We had some good contributions from Mikael Louis, 97, and Alec Anthony's 90 in the first innings. And I must say, they're very young and inexperienced, but they told them how many people know. No, they told these batting good, Andrew. When I realized that they were both reaching milestones, I turned on my TV. Because I wasn't watching the game, I was doing other things. Turned on my TV.
I don't blame you.
Saying, no, what? Yeah, West Indies and Bangladesh is not a test match I can just sit and watch. So when I realized my boys was on the way to milestones, I said, let me turn on TV. Because Louis on 97 decides that he can charge now a spinner and swipe and get catch that slip. Alright. Heartbroken, disappointed. 2 overs later, Ali Anthony decides he can go for a cheeky, ridiculous shot and get out for 90. And the frustrating thing is, when you got test hundreds there for the taking, if you got put for 10 runs, put for 10 runs. Test hundreds don't come around easy for West Indies players. And I was yes, they're young, but I was very disappointed in the manner of a dismissal. For me, when you get in 90s, it could be opposition building pressure, great delivery, can't do nothing about it. But you don't get out giving away your hand. Bangladesh were struggling in that period of play because I think the partnership was over 150 runs at that stage. Struggling, not creating opportunities. And you just open the door. And that was really frustrating. And I think even in our third innings, when Bangladesh declared, it's like, I know the pitch had a lot in it. That was shown in the 2 final innings. But for me, West Indies struggle so much with keeping the foot on people's throat. There's not ruthlessness. It's like, we need to find a way to make sure the opposition get back in the... And that's my only criticism. Yes, we win by 200 runs. But you see how India demolished Australia? India had the foot for Australia's throat and did not take it off. West Indies need to develop that ruthlessness. That's my only criticism of them in this game. Man, they're not going to smile.
I mean, what you want me to do now? All I can do is laugh. Anyhow, well, I mean, we must admit that I don't think West Indies have the same caliber of players as India. So maybe West Indies are not able to keep the foot on, the throat of the opposition in such a manner, at least so often. Now, You said Louis and the other batsman was
Ale Athens.
Alec Anthony's, right? I saw the dismissals, and they were cheap dismissals. I remind you that Nicholas Sporan in one of the T20s come down the pitch to do something similar. Even though Westies were not set.
He wasn't on 97.
Yeah, but he was trying to rebuild it, and he's very experienced. So Westies were not set, and he can only pitch looking to do it all. I get a stump. You had the same sort of criticism because it's Sporan. Anyhow, let me just say that they were cheap wickets, and I get that, but they're young players learning their trade, learning the game. I can commend them more so than you, because I felt what impressed me about the performance is that you had two sides who clearly the batting might be the weakest point of the teams, but you had a team in the West Indies because there were points where West Indies were in trouble in that first innings. I think they were 25 for 2, and then they had lost a couple quick wickets. On 228 or something like that.
Yeah, 84 for 3, and then we kind of collapsed to 261 for 7 after the 90s guys got out. Yeah,
correct. So what I want to commend the team about, or the batsmen, the individual batsmen, Louis Athens and the guy that's 300, Justin Graves, is that the resilience that they showed to bat the team a couple of trouble at moments where the game could have turned in Bangladesh's favor.
True.
So I will commend them on that. I think that was the most impressive thing for me.
Yeah, I agree.
When did the second test start?
I ain't sure. Maybe next week sometime.
Okay. But Jamaica, right? Well, no, a test match hasn't been played at Savannah Park for a while.
I mean, right?
So that was nice to see.
Yeah.
But I think again, like you said, West Indies versus Bangladesh is not an attractive series.
No marquee.
Correct.
Yeah.
When you hear it, for example, 2 test series. I'm glad that they got a victory. Like I said, I was really impressed with the maturity that certain batsmen showed when the team were in precarious positions. I think where West Indies will really demonstrate to me that they are going in the right direction, or what I would like to see from them in the next test, is another win. I don't care how it comes about. I expect Bangladesh will hopefully offer some sort of response. So hopefully West Indies are not guilty of what they normally do when they win a test match, which is to come the second game and play entirely, different, perform in an entirely different manner to what they did in the first game. So I'm hoping that West Indies can build upon this result and maybe not just draw the game and win the series, but get a 2-0 series win. That would be some encouragement.
Okay.
Right?
Fair enough. Oh, that's a good note to end. I mean, Andrew's not usually positive about the West Indies, so that's a good note to end on. So yes, we'll be back again in a couple of weeks. Obviously, follow our sponsors, Whole Health Pharmacy and Spirit Life Studios. Follow us, Marissa Simone 91 and
Drew 9106. Yeah.
Right. And obviously the Dugout _ podcast. I'm really out of practice.
Yes. Please follow the Dugout _ podcast. Follow me at Drew 9106. Follow you at Marissa Simone 91.
Yes.
You can catch our videos on YouTube. We promise to start, to resume posting clips on Instagram as well.
Yeah.
And when you see our video, when you come across it, please like, share, and subscribe.
And comment too. Don't be frightened. Don't be frightened if we're talking crap to tell me.
Well, don't tell me that. Tell she. I don't want.
We both pointing at each other there.
I don't want. I'm just joking. Any sort of feedback, I'm going to take on board and apply and hopefully improve. So, we enjoyed on this show, and we hope that you enjoy it as well. And we'll see you again next time.